Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another daily drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. Or if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, we just hit 15,000 subscribers. So thank you very much. We are Tar Heel Illustrated on YouTube, and you can also be a premium subscriber to our website, TarHeelIllustrated.com, for just $8.33 a month for a one-year subscription. That gives you access to literally everything that we do. If you don't know, these pods that we do are just a part of our content. And so much of the stuff that you're going to find in either premium content articles or on our message boards, you're never going to hear in these podcasts. We're not just going to give it away. So go on over there, become a member. It helps support the site, helps support this channel. We don't ask for money on this channel. So that way we can keep producing the quality content that we have. Okay. So the topic today is UNC's goals are still attainable. I know that there is still a cloud hanging over Chapel Hill after what happened last Saturday. It's one of the few times where I have sensed literal pain from UNC fans. When I say pain, I mean like shock, pain, disdain, the kind of anger that was up a couple of bars from the usual anger when Carolina has lost in football. Before I go any further, quick reminder, this show is sponsored to you by Underdog Fantasy. We always appreciate the relationship we've had with them all football season, and we will continue for the rest of the football season. And we'll have a message from them here in a few minutes. Okay, so the goals are still attainable. Credible to say, a team that could lose at home to Virginia and be very close to getting pounded on the scoreboard by Virginia because the Wahoos probably should have had 2 more touchdowns, at least 1 more for sure. The Tar Heels goals are still intact. Now, the CFP goal's not. The college football playoff goal is, there would have to be so much chaos in front of the Tar Heels for them to have a chance to get in there. I don't even think that should be something anybody talks about anymore. I've talked about it on these drops before because it was a relevant topic at the time. Right now, it's not. And I'm not so sure that the players sat around thinking CFP a whole lot. I think their goals are ACC championship and everything will take care of itself. That's a fair way to look at it. And guess what? They could still win the ACC championship. And guess what? I would still pick them as the team with the best odds at facing Florida State in the ACC championship game in Charlotte the first Saturday in December. And why is that? Well, first of all, I still think they're the second best team in the league. Who are the other top contenders? Well, they beat Miami. And quite frankly, they hammered Miami until Miami made a little bit of a late push that was too late. I think they're better than Louisville. Louisville got drubbed at Pittsburgh. Now, Carolina got beaten at home by Virginia, so that kind of throws that one out, right? Even though Carolina went and won at Pittsburgh. But Carolina owns a tiebreaker with Louisville because they beat Pitt and Louisville lost to Pitt. Okay, how about Duke? I think Duke's good. I watched the tape of the Florida State game the other night, and Duke's defense is totally legit. I think Duke might have the best defense in the league. Physical, they're fast, they're smart, they're great in pre-snap. That's going to be a huge challenge for the Tar Heels. And the Blue Devils, they have 2 losses, but only one of them's in the league. Remember, Notre Dame was not an ACC loss. So perhaps the winner of the Duke-Carolina game has the inside track to Charlotte. Clemson is no longer in contention. The Tigers have 3 losses, as amazing as it is, and they could have a couple more. They still got to play Notre Dame. Carolina goes there the week before Thanksgiving. So even if the Tar Heels take care of the Blue Devils, they still have to get past Georgia Tech this week. And then they got to go to Clemson and win and go to NC State win. I'll dive into those games and a little bit more about their goals still being intact in just a moment. But let's first hear a word from our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy.
Yes, guys, we are so excited to be partnered with Underdog fantasy. And we decided to partner with Underdog because it's the easiest place to play fantasy sports, and it's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry right now as well. And Underdog Fantasy has so much to offer, including their Pick'em game. And in Pick'em, you pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. It's so easy to play. Just pick 2 to 5 stats of your favorite players and choose whether they'll go higher or lower. You can 20x your money by going just 5 for 5. They also have a Best Ball Mania. If you think you know football, you need to check this one out. This year's Best Ball Mania has $15 million in total prizes up for grabs, with the winner taking home $3 million. So sign up today with the promo code HEEL, HEEL, and get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register with that promo code HEEL to get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. And if you're concerned with your play, call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ncpgambling.org. Back to the show.
Okay, so right now they're sitting at 6-1. They're 3-1 in the ACC. They do have a non-conference game left in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, week and a half against Campbell. Won't be an issue. So the total wins I'm not worried about is the ACC wins. Saturday in Atlanta is not going to be easy. The Tar Heels have lost 10 of 12 there. The 2 wins were a comeback win in 2015. Marquise Williams just put everybody on his shoulders and said, ride me, fellas, ride on my back. They overcame a 21-0 deficit, which, by the way, is the largest come-from-behind win in school history and program history. And then Mac's first trip there in 2019, the Tar Heels went in there and pounded a struggling Georgia Tech team. The Jeff Collins team was bad, although one of them hammered the Tar Heels 2 years ago in the Dome, the new Dome down in Atlanta. And then last year, Georgia Tech comes to Chapel Hill. Tar Heels lead 17-0, take the foot completely off the pedal, and the Yellow Jackets beat them. That was the Josh Downs drop pass game. Great players can make drops, can drop passes. It just happens. It's human nature. So this is not going to be an easy game, or at least nobody should expect it to be an easy game going in. It could turn out that way, but it would probably be foolish to expect it to be. So let's say the Tar Heels navigate their way out of Atlanta and get their third win in 11 tries or 12. 12 since, I guess, Georgia Tech, or in the stretch since Georgia Tech joined the league and got good in the late 80s. They take care of Campbell. Then they got Duke. I think right now, if they played right now, even in Chapel Hill, I'd give it a toss-up simply because I've got to see Carolina match a team's physicality again. Georgia Tech's going to be physical, so that will help. We'll get a good indicator. I liked how Carolina matched Miami's physicality in the third quarter of that game last week. That was one of those times where, in the past, we've seen the physicality sort of win out and the Tar Heels don't adjust and recover during the course of a game. That's happened a lot. Anybody who's a Carolina football fan or watches Carolina football as an observer knows that. But they to me, they were changing that narrative. It slipped Saturday against Virginia. Virginia was the more physical team. They were the enforcer. So Carolina's got to get that back. A step forward would be in Atlanta. We won't learn anything against Campbell. We will against Duke. They have to match Duke's physicality. If they do that, they'll win the game because they have better players. They have better players. They'll be at home. I think the atmosphere will be fantastic. So if they win that, then they got to head to Clemson. And who knows what Clemson's going to be like at that point. The Tigers have some issues, but it's also a tough place to play. It's a very proud program. And if they have an opportunity to knock someone else out of the running for an ACC championship game spot, that'll be a rallying cry. They don't want North Carolina to pass them by, which a win in Death Valley would signal, at least for this year. And then the Tar Heels have to go to Raleigh. And we all know that's not going to be easy, as I'm going to say his name again, because I do every week on a drop and on the football show with Jacob. As the great Kevin Roy says, NC State will come out of the tunnel that night and be the Kansas City Chiefs, because that's what happens in rivalry games. So it's not an easy stretch to close. It's a manageable stretch for the Tar Heels. They are good enough to win each of these games. They are good enough to win each of these games to a point where they have the ball late and they're sort of in control of those games. They're good enough to do that, but will they? I think more than a shadow of doubt has been cast after what happened last Saturday night. But now they have a chance to brush that aside, march forward, and the Virginia game will always be a head scratcher, but it might just be a footnote on the season. If that's a footnote on the season, that means the Tar Heels are in Charlotte and they're in the fourth quarter in a competitive game with Jordan Travis and Jared Verse and Mike Norvell and the Seminoles. I think every Carolina fan right now, with an 11-1 team being in the fourth quarter and a back and forth game, would take that to the bank and they'd run laughing. Because I think that that would be this team coming close to hitting its potential. Whatever happens late in that game, I don't know. I don't want to go that far. But if they're in that situation, when you got guys like Drake, you got guys like Hampton, you got guys like Tez Walker, and you have studs on defense like Eccles and Gray and Huzzy. Ronnie Chapman is probably the starting corner now. Has made some big plays this year for this team. You got guys that can make plays. I would give them a decent chance. Now, that's a long ways off. They got to take care of stuff this weekend. But the point of this drop is the Tar Heels' goals are still attainable. They can win the ACC championship, and they would have to force the CFP committee to not include them. Or they can get to the ACC championship game, and even if they lose, they still get to the Orange Bowl. If this team is 11-2 going to the Orange Bowl, there is nobody watching, nobody listening could say that's a bad year. Nobody. Now, they can do more. I think the potential is there, but they have to start this week in Atlanta. If they lose in Atlanta, then all bets are off. Then it's going to be extremely difficult for them to meet their goals, their stated goals, and what I think they all believe in that room in the Keenum Football Center that they can achieve. What do you guys think? Do you think that they will reach their goals? Do you believe the goals are still attainable? If you do, on both those questions, go ahead and click like on this video. Make sure you share it with all your Tar Heel friends. Let them know we're here. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you get updates every time we upload a video, which is often. I'm AJ, and I'll see you from Atlanta when Jacob and I do 3 things. We appreciate you stopping by.